people. Okay? The hooves are so strong that it can actually break a human skull into 2 pieces. So, something to keep in mind when you guys are goofing off and you think it's cool to throw snowballs at it or shoot water guns at moose or trying to go up and harass them. It's best to just leave these guys alone, okay? Let them go about finding their food, especially in the wintertime. Especially in the wintertime when their food sources, it's very hard to find their food. They can get grumpy rather quickly. That and when they're the mom's protecting babies, they are the most aggressive because they want to protect their babies or their calves. You guys doing your sketches and making your observations of the external, the hair. The hair is really coarse.
Can I touch it?
You guys can pass this. I'll give you guys a couple strands. You can pass it around. The hair is really coarse. It's not like caribou. It's not like caribou hair. Caribou hair are like little drinking straws. You guys want to pass that around?
Sure. I'm not That's good. No, thank you.
Okay.
Ew. I'm kind of.
But notice the coloring. You guys want to?
Oh yeah, hold that.
Did you guys get to feel a piece?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
No.
Just put it on the ground, Lawrence. Just drop it on the ground. The coloring is very important for camouflage and protection from predators. The brown coloring, all of the trees in Alaska are, if they're standing in a backdrop, it's a dark background behind it. So the moose is colored this way so that when it's in the trees or it's in the brush, they will get camouflaged out or they will blend in with their surroundings. And this is to help protect them from predators. Do you guys have any questions so far? Well, we're gonna start dissecting it now. Actually, the first thing, let's show them the teeth first. You want to lift that head up for me? The teeth in the front are really small. Okay? And that is so it's able to grasp grasses and twigs. The teeth in the back are large and flat. Okay? And you can tell that it's really hard to see them in this moose because she is so old. She's almost got no teeth in the back of her mouth.
There's liquid coming out of this windpipe syrup thing.
All right, so that brings up a good point. Up front here, and if you guys want to come around and see, you guys want to come this way or squeeze in this way. You guys can see the windpipe, the trachea, and part of the esophagus.
I mean, it's like I can stay perfectly still.
This one's gonna be everywhere.
I'm not going to touch it right now.
I need my gloves. Pardon me. All right, so down here, this is the moose's trachea, or its windpipe. No, I'm not gonna mess with it because I don't want it to completely fall apart right yet. But yeah. Okay, so that's the windpipe. Its voice box sits up higher in the throat. The bowls will usually do most of the communicating, and they communicate by doing grunting noises. All right.
Oh my God!
scapula or the shoulder blade, the front shoulder. Notice there's like hardly any muscle on it. It's very thin. It's almost all bone. And that's what happens when the moose can't get enough food. They get old and elderly. They're not able to retain fat. They're not able to retain their muscle tissue. So they start just kind of wasting away. The rib cage is just like ours. They have two parts to their rib cage, one on either side. And that helps protect their internal organs. The spinal cord is just, the moose's nervous system is very similar to the humans in the fact that it has a centralized or a central nervous system in the spinal cord. And it has several peripheral nerves that will run off the spinal cord to the rest of the body. And that's what sends messages, senses, to the brain, so that the moose is able to tell what's around it, what it's smelling. All of this, all of the white stuff is part of the skin. It has very little fat in it. I don't know what happened to my little piece of fat that I found. We'll show you guys what fat will look like, what real fat looks like. This is the rear, or the hind quarter. The moose have a hip structure very similar to humans in that they have a ball and socket joint. Okay? The ball is actually at the top of the femur, or the upper thigh bone, or the leg bone. And it'll fit into the socket, which is in the hip joint. So your hip is kind of shaped like this. The top of your leg is like this, so it sits in there, and it's able to move back and forth. That's how we're able to move our legs like this, is because of that ball and socket joint.